Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at the curious case of Captain Robert Campbell. Captain Robert Campbell began his British Army career in 1903 at the age of 18. Shortly after World War I started in July of 1914, Campbell and the soldiers he was leading, the 1st Battalion East Surrey Regiment, were sent to Mons-Condé canal in the northwest of France. 1 week later, after an attack by German forces, Captain Campbell was seriously injured and ultimately captured. He was then treated in a German military hospital in Cologne and, once healed up a bit, sent to the prisoner of war POW camp in Magdeburg, Germany. None of this makes Campbell particularly unique in the war to end all wars. Between 1914 and 1918, approximately 10 million civilians and servicemen were captured and interred at various detention camps. What makes Campbell's story different is something that happened 2 years after his capture. Now in his early 30s, Campbell received word that his mother, Louise, was suffering from terminal cancer. With nothing to lose, Campbell wrote directly to Kaiser Wilhelm II, requesting compassionate leave so that he might be able to see her before she passed. Surprisingly, the Kaiser agreed, granting him 2 weeks' leave, provided he gave his word as a British Army officer that he would return. After giving his word, Captain Campbell was indeed released. Details of how he actually made it home have been lost to history, but it's thought that he travelled through the Netherlands and then took a boat to Kent. Upon arriving home, he spent a week with his mother before returning to the POW camp by equally mysterious means. There was no recorded explanation in the British military archives why no one in the army tried to block his return, but presumably a British officer's honour being at stake had something to do with it. Whatever the case, in February of 1917, Captain Campbell's mother died while he was still a prisoner. Perhaps to keep himself occupied, as soon as Captain Campbell returned to the prison camp, he and a group of other prisoners spent the next 9 months digging a tunnel out of their camp. The tunnel project was successful in that they were able to use it to escape the camp, but they were caught near the border of the Netherlands and sent back. While you might think that this story and the show of good faith on Kaiser Wilhelm II's part might have inspired the British to do the same, this was not the case. German POW Peter Gastreich was being held at the Isle of Wight when he learned his father was dying. He then asked for a leave of absence to go see him, but the British prisoners of war department summarily ruled against this, stating they cannot recognize the temporary release on parole of Captain Campbell as a precedent for such concessions. They were not consulted before leave was granted to the officer by the German government and would not have consented to such a proposal had it been put before them. At the war's end, along with other POWs, Captain Campbell was released and remained in the army until he retired in 1925. When World War II broke out, he served as the chief observer of the Royal Observer Corps on the Isle of Wight. He lived to the ripe old age of 81, ultimately dying in 1966. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd also like to thank all of our patrons on Patreon. Patreon is a platform where you can help support Today I Found Out in making these daily videos with a small and totally voluntary financial contribution if you can and if you want to. You can go to patreon.com/TodayIFoundOut to find out more. We've also got a load of cool perks over there, like infographics and t-shirts, and even me doing the voice on a GPS system. So all of that good stuff is at patreon.com/TodayIFoundOut. And as always, thank you for watching.